Everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name's Christina and today is another collab video. So today's collab video is with my friend Sally. She proposed this idea a little while ago and I really liked it. So today we're going to be talking about our perfect eyeshadow palette or basically just what our favorite eyeshadows are and putting them in a 9-pan palette basically. I'm not actually putting them in a 9-pan palette. I'm putting them in a palette in my mind. So I just want to say thank you to Sally for asking me to do this with her. I will definitely have her channel linked down below. I will also have her video linked down below, and I'm super excited that she asked me to do this collab with her. So before I jump into what shades I picked to put in my perfect eyeshadow palette, definitely make sure to hit that subscribe button because I do upload on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Typically I do upload at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard, but as you're seeing this, it is up at a different time. But typically I do upload at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard, so definitely make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of my videos. Also hit the bell notification so for videos like this where it goes up at a different time, you know when it's there. And now let's get into what shades I picked. So like I said earlier, we were gonna pick 9 shades because typically most palettes range between probably 6 to 12, I think is the pretty average for most smaller palettes. And of course for me, I couldn't start off a perfect eyeshadow palette without a freaking neutral brown. So you guys know I am a neutral lover through and through. I'm wearing a neutral look. I feel the most myself and the prettiest in a neutral eyeshadow look. So when it comes down to picking a brown neutral shade, I have plenty to choose from, but I always tend to want to go back to this one. I go to it a lot, and it's this little single pan. So this is from Makeup Geek. This is of course the old formula because I think they just rebranded. I haven't bought anything from the rebrand, but I've had this shade for a little bit, and this is an iconic Makeup Geek shade. This is this shade Frappe or Frappe. And it's just a really nice mid-tone brown, perfect for in the crease. I've used this all over my lids as well, and it's beautiful. As you can see, this guy has gotten a lot of love. It already has pan in it. It's just like this perfect mid-tone, almost camel brown, but not quite too yellow. Almost a neutral shade, works with a lot with like an orangey warm base. There it is right there. I had to pick a neutral brown. These are what I would go to on days where I don't want to wear much eye makeup. Like today, I go with this kind of shade in the crease. I fan it out a lot and then I'll pack it on the outer rim and then put a glitter on the lid, and then that's it. That's all I do for a lot of my looks because it's just easy. It makes me comfortable. It makes me feel put together still. So I, of course, had to put in a shade like this. It's also a really nice matte. I have a tendency to gravitate towards shimmers more just because they're shimmery. They're prettier to look at. So I had to be very aware that I needed to put some neutrals and some mattes in because you can't have an eyeshadow palette if you don't have anything to put in your crease. Can't be all shimmers, you know, or it's not going to be perfect. But this kind of shade is great for me. Second shade I picked from a palette that basically on its own is my perfect palette, and it's the Dose of Colors Friendcation palette with Desi and Katie. This palette is probably the closest thing to my perfect palette that has been produced on the market. I love this palette. It's really dirty. I'm really sorry. I could have honestly picked any shade in this palette and been very happy with that choice, but I was like, I want to do something different, something that I lean for a lot that isn't in any other eyeshadow palette that I own, and it's actually this gold shade right here. It's called Just a Kiss, and it's technically just a topper shade. It's just a glitter gold topper shade right there. Don't know why I did it on this hand because I've swatched on this hand. Hang on. Let me try that again. There it is. It's really subtle. Like, it's not a high impact color like when you swatch it at all. Like, you guys are barely gonna be able to see that. But when it's packed on the lid on top of a shade, it gives the most beautiful just extra oomph. That's why it's called Just a Kiss. It's just a little extra oomph. And there's literally nothing else in my collection like that shade. And so I was like, I have to pick that. I know it's probably not most people's favorite shade in this palette, but it's one of my favorites in this palette and I absolutely adore it. I reach for it a lot when I just want a little something extra. If I'm going out to eat or if I'm going to an event, that's the shade I always want to put over my lid. Even if it's not in my everyday makeup container for that month, I will go into my vanity and pull out just for that shade. So I was like, that's another good one. I really need to pull that one in. And there's literally nothing else like that in my collection. So that would be shade number 2. So far, as expected, very neutral. For my third shade, I wanted to pull something that is a color that I do gravitate towards a lot, and I actually gravitate towards purples and pinks on me a lot. I have a really cool tone pink undertone to my skin, and I feel like pinks really complement me if they're the right pinks. I have found a lot of pinks that don't look good on me at all, but there are certain, like, especially like burgundy purple colors, I feel like look really, really good on my skin tone. So I had to pick this little guy for the next shade. This is the Makeup Revolution Donut Palette. This is the Strawberry Sprinkles one, and it is so cute. It has like a little squishy donut on top, but the shade I really, really like in this, besides the middle shade is very pretty, but like I said, I gravitate towards shimmers a lot. It's actually this shade right here. It's like a burgundy purple base color. Look how pretty that is. I mean, it basically matches my shirt, so I lean towards these a lot, and it's just such a nice like burgundy shade that can be built up really easily. Let me go over it with another swatch. It can be built up really easily. As you guys can see, it's more intense now. It's also really good for a wash in the crease. It's a good transition shade. It can be used to deepen up looks depending on what you're doing. And I just feel like these kind of shades really complement my skin and my skin tone a lot. And it is a little bit of color. It's the most color that I usually feel comfortable with is pink and purples. I feel like they complement me the best, and they just make me feel really, really good. So when I thought of a nice burgundy shade, I immediately thought of this palette, and so far this was what our lineup looks like. I didn't really think of a good order to put these in, but so far it looks really, really nice. I could come up with a look with just these three shades. I feel like this would be a really, really good quad to have, like a good, or not a quad, this would be a good trio to have. If we were doing like the Colourpop layout, this would probably be right at the top, and it would look really, really nice. And I just feel like this is a good little combo for me. Next shade is going to be my fourth shade, and I'm going to be pulling it from the Picante palette from Paaarty. I really, again, this is the same as the previous shade, but it's another matte shade, and it's actually this purple down here. This is the color Ebates, I think is how you say it. And it's, again, another like purpley based matte transition shade. Really, really similar almost to the other one, but it is more purple. So I find when I use this shade on my lids, it leans a lot more purple. It looks really similar on my hand swatch next to that guy, but it is more of a purple base, I promise. It doesn't translate well on camera, but I find that I come up with different looks wearing this guy, and with some of the shimmers that I've picked, I feel like this shade would be better than the red shade in some cases. I just really like this purple. It's also, this palette, I really like the formula of it, so I mean, if I could, I'd probably want a lot of these to be the formula. It's really soft, really easy to blend, really easy again to do a blown out look, to deepen up looks, to do accent colors with browns. It's just a really pretty color. Now I want to get into some shimmers, and the shimmers are unfortunately so vastly different. The first one that I want to talk about was the first shade I thought of when we came up with this idea. This was the shade that came to mind immediately, and it's in my Colourpop singles, and it's this guy. So this is the shade On a Whimsy. This is basically if you want a silver coin on your eyes. This shade is so beautiful. It's blinding. It's unique. I have nothing else like this. When I think of a fun, like, different shade, it's always this guy. I had a kick wearing this. Look at that. Like, look at that. It's so freaking beautiful. I love this shade so much. This was, again, the first shade I thought of. Let me swatch it. Ugh. I can't get over it. And I mean, it translates like liquid coin on your eyes. It's such a cool shade. It looks really, really good with blues. It looks really, really good even with like a matte brown, and it's just, it's almost like a grungy industrial look. It's just such a cool shade. I've used it as an inner corner highlight before with like yellows. It looks really cool with so many things. It's just a straight silver, and I don't have any other silvers in my collection. This is why I bought this shade, because the only other thing that I have similar is this shade, but it's more of a periwinkle, and it's not as intense as On a Whimsy. So On a Whimsy was the first shade I thought of. It doesn't really go with the colors I have right now. I could see it being paired maybe with the red would be a cool look, actually. The red or the purple would be cool with it. So that's my fifth shade. He's a little different, but you know, we like him. Sixth shade is from this guy. This is the Alamar palette, and I'm wondering if you guys can guess which one it is, because I don't think you guys will guess this one. Obviously, I love the shimmers. There's dips in all of the shimmers. I go hard with shimmers, but the shade I really, really like in this is actually Cocoa Taxi, which is the like orangey yellow. I have a thing for like terracotta orangey yellows. It's just such pretty like orangey yellow terracotta color. It, again, probably is gonna look really weird swatched next to the silver shade, but I've used those together actually, and I like the way they look. Like, it's just a cool, different look. I really like yellows in the summer. And I like yellows paired with a lot of things. They look good with browns, they look good with a lot of shimmers, they look good with gold shimmers. So I mean, it would work with this shimmer right there. This is such an odd, now that I'm looking at it, I'm like, this is a little bit of an odd palette. I don't know how I'd organize this, but I love all of these shades so much. Like, these are the ones I reach for all the time. So that is shade number 6. Shade number 7 is another like cool tone blue shade, and it's of course from the Blue Moon palette from Colourpop. I flippin' love Billie Jean. I think it's most people's least favorite because whenever I've done polls asking for which shade to use in looks, Billie Jean's like always the last one. But it's this cool blue metally color. It looks really similar to On a Whimsy in some ways, but it's just so much more blue. They look really cool paired together. God, on camera they look similar too. I swear these shades are different. Or maybe I just have a type. I probably just have a type. But it's just this cool, almost periwinkle color, which you guys know periwinkle is like one of my favorite shades. I need a good periwinkle eyeshadow. That would have made this perfect, but I don't have one. The closest thing to a good periwinkle is JOAH BB, but it's not that great of a shade. But this shade, this shimmer is so beautiful. Love it so much. I don't know. It's just such a pretty shade. It makes such a good like accent pop too. And I really, really like it. These rows are starting to look weird, aren't they? So this so far is my palette. Don't ever put me on picking a palette board because I don't make any sense. All right, we're about to get down to the wire here. So the 8th shade is in this guy. This was in one of my boxy charms. This is the Fairy Tale Storybook Cosmetics Little Briar Rose palette, and I absolutely adore Spindle. This shade. Rude. This shade right here, this is like a muted rose color almost. It's really nice. It blends really, these shadows are really nice. You can't really see it. It's like my skin tone, but it just is a really nice complementary shade on me right here. Ooh, it looks really pretty with that blue actually. Ideas. So I could see this going in the crease, this blue going on the lid, and like this red to deepen up the outer V would be such a cool look. So that's kind of what I can see looking at this now. It's just a really nice transition shade. I really like mattes a lot too because I just feel like they add so much depth to my eyes. You guys know I have really hooded eyes, so anywhere I can get some depth, I enjoy. And this shade is just so pretty on my skin tone. It's a really nice, like, little bit of color without being too much. It's almost like a neutral, but it is some color to it. I don't know. I really like it. I really like this palette, actually. And then my last shade is actually coming from this guy. This is, again, another palette that really surprised me. You guys that watch most of my videos know I bought this at TJ Maxx, like, what, a month ago, 2 months ago? And I got it for $8, and it is surprisingly so amazing. And these baked shimmers are so good. I could honestly probably choose any of them and be happy with my choice. They're all so beautiful. I haven't used every single one of these yet, but the ones I have gone back to multiple times is actually Libra, which is this really pretty purple. I've also used Leo a lot, which is like a pink shimmer, but I keep going back to Libra. It's like a deep shimmer, and it would work really well again with these like reds and purples that I already have. It would work well with this pink right here already on my arm. It's so pretty. It would work so well with these purples and reds. And it's just such a nice shimmer. It doesn't look quite as good. I usually wet my brush with these baked ones, and then they're extra blinding, which is probably one of the reasons I like them. They just have such high impact. My runner-up would have definitely been Leo. Not because I am a Leo, it's just a really nice color, okay? Don't judge me, I can hear you yelling. So my runner-up, if I had to do a 10th shade, would have been this guy right here. He's hard to see, right there. It's just a nice sheen, but he's just not as, I don't know, impactful to me as this Libra shade is. Actually, this Libra shade I've mixed with Leo, so Libra could be mixed with one of these other shimmers. I imagine if I mixed it with the blue one, that would be kind of cool. So like, I just see a lot of different looks being able to be achieved with this lineup. And I know it probably looks a little weird. It's like some cool tones, some neutral, some warm tones, but I feel like this is me. This is like what I gravitate towards a lot of the time. So these would be the 9 shades that I would pick. And while I don't know if this would be like a really nice palette for anyone else, it would definitely be one of my perfect palettes. I would be so excited to use something that had these shades in it. So that, guys, is my perfect palette all summed up. 9 shades that are basically just my favorite colors in my entire makeup collection at the moment, and these are the ones that spark joy and make me happy. So again, thank you so much to Sally for asking me to do this collab with her. Definitely make sure to go check out her channel, send her love, check out what shades she would have picked. Also let her know that you came from my channel so we know who's coming from where. Hopefully I see some new faces here. And if you guys liked this video, definitely make sure to hit the thumbs up. Also make sure to hit the subscribe button before you leave if you don't want to miss out on any other videos like this, and hopefully that means I see all of you guys in my next video. Bye!